For decades, Americans were told something simple: work hard and you'll make it. Buy a home, raise a family, climb the ladder, retire in peace. That was the promise. It didn't matter where you started. It didn't matter who your parents were. If you were willing to work, America would reward you. But today, something feels different. An entire generation is working longer hours than their parents ever did, and yet they're falling further behind. So what happened? Is the American dream dying? Or was it never what we thought it was? After World War II, the United States entered an era of historic growth. Factories expanded. Highways stretched across the country. Suburbs grew almost overnight. Under policies shaped by leaders like Franklin D. Roosevelt, labor protections strengthened, wages improved, and the middle class expanded faster than ever before. In the 1950s and 60s, a single income could support a household. A factory worker could buy a home, send kids to college, take a yearly vacation. Home ownership soared. Productivity increased, and wages rose alongside it. For millions, the dream felt real. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't equally accessible to everyone. But for many families, upward mobility wasn't just possible, it was expected. Then, slowly, things began to shift. In the 1980s and 90s, globalization accelerated. Manufacturing jobs moved overseas. Automation replaced factory lines. Corporate profits climbed, but wages, they barely moved. Productivity kept rising. Worker pay did not. College tuition, once affordable, began skyrocketing. Housing prices climbed steadily higher. Healthcare costs surged. The dream was still being advertised, but it was becoming more expensive to chase. And then came 2008. The 2008 financial crisis shook the foundations of the economy. Millions lost their homes. Millions lost their jobs. Retirement savings disappeared almost overnight. Banks were rescued, but many families were left to rebuild alone. For younger Americans entering the workforce at that time, it was devastating. They graduated into recession, into hiring freezes, into uncertainty, and they never fully caught up. Today, Millennials and Gen Z face a different landscape. They are the most educated generations in American history, but they are also the most indebted. Student loans stretch into decades. Rent consumes nearly half of many paychecks. Buying a home feels impossible in cities like Los Angeles and New York City. A starter home now costs multiples of what previous generations paid, even after adjusting for inflation. The traditional path feels broken. Study hard, get a degree, get a stable job. That formula no longer guarantees stability. Instead, many young adults work in the gig economy. Contract work, rideshare driving, freelancing without benefits. Flexibility has increased, security has not. And while headlines celebrate economic growth, the lived reality often feels different. The stock market rises. Corporate profits reach record highs. Reports from institutions like the Federal Reserve show resilience in the broader economy. But ask the average worker about their monthly budget. Groceries cost more, insurance costs more, childcare costs more. Everything feels heavier. Wealth inequality has widened dramatically. The top earners accumulate assets at record speed. Meanwhile, the middle class shrinks. For many, the dream hasn't disappeared. It has simply moved further out of reach. But the economic strain is only part of the story. There is also a psychological shift. Burnout has become normal. Side hustles are encouraged. Rest feels unproductive. Young professionals delay marriage, delay children, delay major life milestones their parents achieved earlier. Not because they don't want those things, but because they don't feel financially secure enough. Social media adds another layer. Constant comparison, visible success, luxury lifestyles displayed on screens. The gap between expectation and reality grows wider, and with it, anxiety rises. When the dream feels unattainable, hope turns into pressure. Pressure turns into exhaustion. Exhaustion turns into doubt. But is that the full picture? Some argue the dream is not dying. It is evolving. Remote work has redefined freedom. Technology has lowered barriers to entry. Entrepreneurs launch businesses from laptops. The creator economy allows individuals to build audiences and income independently. Innovation hubs like San Francisco continue to produce billion-dollar companies. Immigrants still arrive every year believing deeply in opportunity, and many succeed. Opportunities still exist, but they look different. The path is no longer linear. It is unpredictable, riskier, more competitive. The safety net feels thinner. So maybe the real question isn't whether the American dream is dying. Maybe the question is, who was it designed for? Historically, not everyone had equal access. Systemic barriers excluded many communities. Access to loans, access to education, access to housing. The dream was powerful, but it was never evenly distributed. Today, inequality is more visible than ever. The internet exposes contrasts in real time. Luxury penthouses rise beside tent encampments. Prosperity and struggle exist on the same block. And that visibility changes perception. When people feel the system rewards capital more than labor, trust erodes. When hard work no longer guarantees upward mobility, belief weakens. And belief is the core of any dream. But here is the uncomfortable truth. The American dream has always been both reality and myth. It was real for many, and out of reach for others. It created extraordinary success stories and silent failures. What's different now is the gap feels wider. The cost feels higher. The climb feels steeper. Yet people still try. They still start businesses. They still move cities. They still invest in education. They still hope. Because at its core, the dream isn't just about money. It's about possibility. It's about the belief that tomorrow can be better than today. The fear today is not just financial instability. It's the fear that effort no longer guarantees progress. And if effort loses meaning, the foundation shifts. So is the American dream dying, or is it transforming into something harder, something less predictable, something reserved for those willing to take bigger risks? Maybe it was never meant to be easy. Maybe it was always fragile. Or maybe it's being rewritten in real time. One generation questioning, another adapting, a system adjusting under pressure. The dream may not look like it did in the 1950s. It may not come with a white picket fence. It may not arrive on a single paycheck, but the desire for upward mobility, the hunger for stability, the belief in a better future, that remains. The real question is not whether the dream is dying. The real question is this: if hard work alone is no longer enough, then what replaces it? What defines success now? Security, freedom, ownership, flexibility, or something entirely new? The answer is still unfolding, and whether the dream survives may depend on who gets to shape its next chapter. Because a dream only truly dies when people stop believing it's possible. And despite everything, millions still believe.